Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Sunday. I did all the firewall stuff yesterday, and I figured I'm waiting for parts to get in, but I don't really just feel like sitting around and doing nothing on the car. So what I'm going to do is I have the engine right here, so that's what's going into the car. Now I do have this like crane pulley system hooked up to my ceiling that's pretty well positioned over the car. So what I think I'm going to do is strip the crank rods and pistons out of this block and then just chuck the oil pan onto it and get it in the car, and that way I can get the engine mounts made for it. And it's a start. It's something I can at least do and get done with and get it out of the way. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to strip the block down to a bare block, throw the pan on it, and see what I need to do to make some motor mounts to get it bolted into the car. That's a pretty dirty piston. Alright, so the rotating assembly is all completely removed. Looks like everything in the bottom end was still good. So, pistons, rods, crank, all that stuff was still pretty good in this engine. It's amazing what you can find out there. I got this entire engine as a complete long block, ECU, harness, everything, all accessories for about 400 bucks. It's basically the same setup that was in my GTO, and we made well over 765 wheel horsepower out of it. So, and that's with a turbo that was stock bottom end and everything. So this engine is going to be fully built, so it should be capable of 1,000 horsepower when it's done. We're probably going to set it around 800 though, just to be on the safe side. But I think I'm going to throw the caps back on it and then clean out the oil pan and then bolt the oil pan on it. And then once the pan's on, I can put the mounts on the side. I'm just going to use the factory mounts that came on the engine for now, just as a guideline to figure out where I need to be to build custom motor mounts. I don't have enough material here to build custom motor mounts at the moment, but I can get the stock ones on there and just add a little extension to them or whatever I need to do just to make them drop on. And then from there I can take actual measurements off of those and build my own custom solid mounts from it. So I'm going to get these caps on, clean out the oil pan, bolt it on, and then hopefully this little pulley system I got on my ceiling will lift this fat son of a bitch. So yeah, let's get started with it. This is definitely the least fun part about this, is cleaning all this crap out of the pan here. And there's a lot of, I don't even know if you can see it, the lighting's terrible, but there's just absolutely tons of gunk built up inside of this pan. Now this is not the pan that I'm going to be using on the car. We're going to go with a Canton Racing oil pan on it, but it's going to have to be rear sump, so I do have this factory pan that's rear sump already, so it's a good starting point just for test fitting stuff. The Canton pan, I believe, will have a little bit more clearance than this one, so it'll be a good thing. The Canton pans are just, they're really good quality. I've been running Canton pans on my GTO for years now and never had an issue, so I'm definitely going to stick with that and keep a Canton oil pan on it. Possibly do the oil filter relocation system too, where it tucks a nice billet oil filter housing up inside the engine bay. It makes it really easy to change out oil filters, and they look really cool. Oh, you fucker. Oh, I just poured oil all over my slippers. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were definitely just made. Okay, I got the mounts sort of like temporarily bolted on. I can already tell these aren't going to work because the angle is completely off on them. So I might be able to just cut them and weld a bracket onto them temporarily though. But other than that, let's take a quick measurement here just to see how far from the center line this is. So we're going to be at about 12.5 inches to the back of the block. So that'll put back of the block right around about there. So that looks like it might be a little bit tight on clearance to fit the bell housing and all that. I mean, we can modify the firewall if we really want to mount it that far back, which wouldn't be a bad idea. It'd be nice to have the engine mounted a little bit further back for center of gravity. But that should work for now, just to get a general idea, so we can always work it from there. Now I got to figure out how I'm going to get the engine out here, because it is pretty tight in my garage. So I don't know, I'm gonna mess with it for a few minutes and see if I can figure out a way to get it over here. I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to need to come up with a better plan. Brad!
Fuck it, the crank and everything's on there, right? Can't be that fucking heavy.
Yeah, we should. No, I mean, it's probably only like,
Like,
I don't know, maybe 300 pounds.
really?
What's that?
Or you're just gonna set it right
There's
on
no
there?
heads or anything on the clock.
Came all the way this way. And then
Oh, that's the thing is, we don't have room to go over there anymore.
Well, you're cutting that bitch off anyway.
I thought about it, just cutting the frame off. So the engine's gonna have to come forward. I don't know if you want to sidestep that way.
Yeah, I have.
That way you can kind of, because once this is off, you can kick the stand behind you.
Okay, because I was just gonna lift it, set it, go straight to the ground,
Okay.
set it on the ground, then get the stand out.
Ready?
Nope.
Oh, it's not too bad.
No.
Well, we're on the.
Got it?
Yep. Ready?
Yep.
Let me know if you need to set it down.
Just set it down right here.
You got it? Yep. Well, the pan's on a black block of wood. It needs to go back like an inch though.
Oh, it's gonna fall.
I got it, I'm holding it right for you.
Got it?
Now, hold it for a second.
Yep.
Wait, can you hold that like that?
Ain't sure, why not?
How long can you hold that like that for?
Do your best, go.
It still needs to go back.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we got the engine in the car. Now what I need to do is make some mounts. So they're just going to be temporary mounts. They're not going to be the permanent mounts. But basically what I'm going to do is weld a bracket onto this mount here. That'll go here to here with a hole in it. And same thing over on this side, there to there. And then I'm probably just going to like throw in a little gusset for them, just so they're, you know, strong enough to hold it up without them bending. But after that's done, I'm going to take the mounts off. I'm not going to do that today, but I'll take the mounts off and then I'll jig them up. So I'll make plates, adapter plates, that'll basically, that mount can bolt onto, and then I'll build my own mount off of that. That way it'll be a one-piece solid mount. And then I'll probably redesign these mounts too and make those solid as well. That way everything's nice and, you know, tight inside the car. No rocking or anything like that. It's gonna have a solid trans mount as well. But first thing I gotta do is get some measurements, figure out what I need to do, and cut up some metal and drill some holes. So bracket's gonna be about 5 wide, and we'll go 5.5 with the hole at about 4 3/4. Alright, so it looks like we're gonna have to make it 4" because that's as wide as this metal is. So we'll go 4 by 5.5 here. Alright, we got our first bracket cut. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other one, and then we'll get them on the drill press and punch the holes out on it. Alright, you know the old saying, measure twice, cut once? Well, it's a good thing I did that, because the holes actually need to be 4 5/8, so I actually marked that hole wrong. So I went through, double checked all the measurements on everything, and put the marks on the correct spot. So now we're ready to drill them out, and that's what we're gonna do right now. Alright, let's test fit it real quick and make sure it lines up and everything before we weld it on. Alright, let's see how it fits. Right about right there. Yeah, that should work nicely. So, we might need to open this hole up a little bit more. I wanted to have a little bit of wiggle room in it, so maybe we'll open it up to 1/2 or 9/16 or something like that, but that should work pretty good for now. So I'm going to get these mounts off, wire wheel them, and I'll bring the TIG welder over here and at least just tack them on in place for now. Alright, everything's cut and cleaned up now, so we're going to go ahead and weld the mounts into place. Alright, so I got the mounts all tacked up here. Tacked them up with them on the car. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and just beat them up on both, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this side very well, but I'm going to do a full beat on them and weld them up real nice, and then I'm going to try and gusset them to the best I can with what material I have left, and then throw them in, drop the engine down, and see where we're sitting. And I blew the circuit to the house. And that's on fire. Oh, time to go reset the breaker. All right. And that's that. Those are done. I'm gonna put them back on the engine and see how they fit. Okay, so I've got the mounts all welded up right there. Now what I'm gonna do is loosen up the lower section of the mounts to the chassis, and then bolt the mounts back up, and then try to lower it down on it and see what happens. I gotta get that 2x4 out from underneath the oil pan, lower it down, and let's see where we're sitting, see if I need to make any adjustments on it or if I got it right the first try. Not expecting that, but maybe I did. I don't know, let's find out. Okay, so now what I need to figure out is how I'm going to get that 2x4 off from under the engine and actually set it down. I got a jack under the back of it, so maybe I'll just try to take a pry bar and wedge the front end up a little bit and see if I can slide it out. So I think that's what I'm going to try. It's the only thing I can really think of right now, but let's go for it and see what happens, I guess. We're in, so that'll work. It's a good starting point. It looks like those mounts are definitely bending a little bit, but it's a good start point. So engine's completely level and straight, center to center. Awesome. All right, so our dirty LS is in the car now. We got our test engine mounts in there, so what we're going to do next, not today, but I'm going to get those pulled out and build a jig around that actual mount and then make it all one piece out of steel. That way there's no rubber flex bushings in there, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the lower chassis to engine mount there. It's all going to be a one-piece steel mount on that as well. But for now, that's going to be it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.